it's time to zone in on the NBA. Memphis Grizzlies head coach Taylor Jenkins says that there is no timeline for when All-Star guard Ja Morant will return to the team. Morant has been under fire for an Instagram live post in which he appeared to be posing with a gun at a nightclub. Jenkins had initially said Morant would miss just 2 games, but changed that position ahead of the team's defeat to the Clippers on Sunday.
A definitive timeline. I mean, we have said that it's going to be at least these 2 games. You know, we're taking it one day at a time. I mean, this is going to be an ongoing healing process. I can't comment in terms of what the exact timetable is going to be because it's really not a timetable situation. You know, I think the focus right now is Josh taking on the responsibility to really get the help he needs to get into a better place, generally speaking, but also on the flip side, to be in a better place to, you know, embrace the responsibilities and expectations as a member of this team. That's what we're dialoguing about. That's what we're going to support him through, but we're also going to hold him accountable to. I think ultimate decisions were made internally amongst ourselves, but obviously there's an ongoing investigation given the nature of the video with the league. You know, Ja's been fully compliant with that, and we're supporting the league through that investigation, but we also had to handle our business too.
Well, this is the latest in a series of incidents that have negatively put Morant in the spotlight. Members of the Indiana Pacers team accused close associates of Morant to have aimed red laser at them during a post-game confrontation in January. Morant has also been accused of making threatening statements to a Memphis mall guard. It was also alleged that he flashed his gun and punched the team a dozen times last week. In that incident, it is said that Morant emerged from his house with a gun in his waistband and his hand on the weapon. The boy claimed he and the 23-year-old star were involved in a fight during a pickup basketball game in Morant's backyard. Well, this is what Morant's agent, Jim Tanner, has said about the initial series of events. Any and every allegation involving a firearm has been fully investigated and could not be corroborated. This includes the NBA investigation last month, in which they found no evidence. Well, on the Instagram video, Morant released this statement. I take full responsibility for my actions last night. I'm sorry to my family, teammates, coaches, fans, partners, the city of Memphis and the entire organization for letting you down. I'm going to take some time away to get help and work on learning better methods of dealing with stress and my overall well-being. So, what is really happening here? Let's get the thoughts of our NBA analyst, Alister Albert. Alister, good afternoon. Welcome to the Sportsmax Zone.
Good afternoon, guys.
All right, so my question to you, what's really taking place with Ja Morant?
Ja Morant is in a situation where, you know, sometimes you have to see youthful guys kind of grow by going through some level of adversity. And it's really, really upsetting or disappointing that, you know, you have to kind of go through those kind of lumps and bumps to kind of become a more mature person. I think that's what kind of is happening to Ja Morant right now. I think all of us from the Caribbean has probably heard one of our parents at some point in time has said to us, if you can't hear, you will feel. And you know, this is kind of what the situation is with Ja Morant right now. The situation is now snowballing, where the police, the Denver police, are kind of investigating this situation a lot more closely. There's an internet social media post going around saying that it could be upwards of maybe 50 games. It could be suspended because it's a major incident, not felony, but an infraction to be committed in Denver to bring a gun onto a plane. And, you know, everything that happened before just kind of adds to a little bit of a rap sheet and a track record with Ja. It's unfortunate that it's all happened really recently, so it's not something that we've known from a really longer past of his. But, you know, it's happened in a really compact time, and it's kind of really affected his image and the team right now, his standings in the NBA, and everything that, you know, could happen for them, you know, moving forward success-wise. So, yeah, it's a bad situation he hopefully will learn from. It's nice to see him put out that statement and kind of take some accountability for it. Taylor Jenkins and the Memphis Grizzlies organization are really looking forward to see him take those steps. And hopefully he can come up at the end of this a better person and, you know, no more incidences like this.
When we think about Ja Morant, we think about how important he is to the results and, of course, the scores where Memphis Grizzlies are concerned. What does this mean now for the team and, of course, their results moving forward? Because we're getting closer and closer to where teams are trying to make the playoffs, and, of course, we're getting to the back end of that, which means, points, standings. You need your best players at their best right now.
Absolutely, and they're fighting for their place and their seeding in the West right now. They're second in the West. They've compiled an awesome record to this point, kind of giving them a little bit of cushion to kind of maintain that seeding at the moment. But of course, you have the teams like the Phoenix Suns who are coming up and rearing behind them. Sacramento Kings who don't appear to be slowing down. That was George's team before we left. Thinking about it, the Suns, the Kings kind of making some noise in these playoffs. So that the Memphis Grizzlies right now in a situation where they just have to kind of continue to tread water, and the team can kind of do very well as he's not there. Tyus Jones, their backup point guard, has played extremely well in his absence, and I think has a really good winning record whilst he's out. And Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr., who was an all-star this year, these guys could carry the team and keep them above 500 in the rest of the games left. Hopefully until he comes back. We were really hoping that he does come back for the playoffs, because Memphis will not be the same without him. So yeah, we're just hoping that he returns really soon.
Right, and where the NBA is concerned, Alister, we know how seriously, they have a stance against gun violence. In 2015, they had an entire campaign where, they were talking about gun safety and, just ensuring that the NBA players made it very clear that their stance where this situation is concerned. Now, of course, the Memphis Grizzlies has said once Ja Morant gets the help that he needs and whatnot, they will welcome him back into the team with open arms. But do you get the sense that, once you get yourself involved in certain things, you can be seen in a negative light, and it may affect your teammates, the way they respond to you, your relationships moving forward?
The good thing about this team is a very young team. And what we kind of see in this situation here, we kind of had little discussions throughout the season where we kind of talk about their maturity. So they're all kind of on that same level. And I think it's a situation where he could come back into the team, and I don't think it will affect any sort of chemistry or anything of that sort. We have a situation with Dylan Brooks himself, who got 16 technical, he's accumulated his 16th technical foul on Friday, and he's now suspended. And we kind of talked about his level of composure on the court. So, they have this little immaturity thing, that's kind of incubating within the franchise. But hopefully, when he comes back, he could just, slot right in like he normally does, average his 25, 8 and 8 that he probably puts up on a nightly basis, and kind of continue to get the team the wins that they need. I don't think it would affect them as much, whilst he's out, but it's yet to be seen how this really affects them moving forward.
Yeah, Alister, do you think there could be something bigger at play here? So I look at the infractions, if you want to call them that, that Ja Morant has been involved in the last month and a half. And then I look at the statement that he put out. And at the end of that statement, where he essentially says he will take the time to better learn how to deal with stress. Do you believe that there is something bigger here at play with Ja Morant? And is he setting himself up for us to start having another discussion about our sportsmen and women and their mental well-being?
It very well could be, and yeah, because he like he says, he needs to take that time away to deal with that stress, like you mentioned, his overall well-being. Getting into the NBA and being a second pick and leading your team as he has, being an all-star, having a signature shoe line, there's a lot of expectation that comes with that. So yes, there is maybe some level of stress that comes with it, learning how to kind of keep up to expectations, being a franchise star. We had a conversation the last couple of days ago, where we spoke about the faces of the NBA. Ja Morant is one of those up-and-coming faces in the NBA. And, it's one of those situations where he has a lot of stress around him. And what he needs to learn to do, I suppose, is to learn how to cope with all of that and what is expected of him moving forward. And yeah, maybe he's coming to terms with understanding that, hey, it's not this is not just a young guy who's out in college who doesn't have the cameras and the spotlight on him. You know, there's more accountability and more responsibility that is required of him. And maybe it's now coming to head that he has to learn how to deal with that a lot more in a sharper and focused way. So yeah, it's one of those situations that he does need to look at this a little closely. And there's an awesome article out by Mark Spears from Anscape, which is an affiliate of ESPN, where they speak of Carmelo Anthony and some troubles that he went through in his earlier career, coming into the NBA, like leaving Syracuse, where he had issues with the police and everything. And, they kind of use that as a parallel to kind of show how someone could come out of the doldrums and continue to have the superstardom that they have. Ja Morant could definitely do that. Whether or not they bring in Carmelo maybe as a mentor or he speaks directly to him, there are avenues for him to learn from this. And having players of that caliber who have kind of been through that might actually help him. So hopefully he seeks that assistance and gets that stress and everything under control.
Yeah, hoping it all works out. Well, in the meantime, Kevin Durant scored 37 points, including the tiebreaker, to push the Phoenix Suns to a 130-126 win over the Dallas Mavericks on Sunday. This was the first meeting between Durant and Kyrie Irving since they both left the Brooklyn Nets. So Alister is still with us. Alister, what did you make of that? What did you make of that meeting?
Yeah, that meeting was fun. It was really good to see. Kevin Durant actually tried to put some water down on that, and he said, I played Kyrie Irving as an opponent a lot more times in my career than I have as a teammate. So the emotions of dealing with it and everything, it's not unfamiliar to him in any sort of way. He's played him more as an opponent. But yeah, it was an awesome outing to see these guys go at it. KD with 37 points, 3 of 5 3-pointers. Booker himself coming up, and kind of atoning for some of the missteps from the postseason last year against Luka Doncic. And Luka himself, going at it, 34 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. It was an epic game to watch and see, superstars at that level going at each other and probably give us a little bit of a preview of what might come in the playoffs as well. So it was really great to see. I think the Suns are a better, a stronger, bigger team against the Mavericks, and no matter what Kyrie Irving and them do, the isolation basketball is probably not going to help them. We see that in the stats: 27 assists to 15 assists for these two teams, with Chris Paul there and Devin Booker playing a little bit of point guard of 10 assists himself. So yeah, the Suns, I think, are just a better all-round team, and that's how the result played out.
All right, well, Alister, of course, we know the excitement in the NBA continues to build up, and we will be keeping a close eye on all the action, and of course, we'll chat with you again very soon.
Playoffs are coming. The playoffs are coming. Can't wait.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Alister. Alister Albert there, our NBA expert. Let's take a break and come right back.